Next match we got here is Le Champion, Chris Jericho, going up against MJF with Wardlow over there. And the condition is that if MJF wins, both him and Wardlow are allowed to join the Inner Circle, where the rest of the guys want it or not. So, yeah, I'll let you guys do the play-by-play. I'll give my thoughts after.
With all the build going into this, like, I mean, I'm talking like, the build was great. It was the town hall, the the steak dinner, the song. I mean, it was just beautiful stuff. But then when it got to the match, it was the match itself. I thought was a bit of a dud. I know this isn't. I thought with all the build that was going on, I just didn't. I mean, that's just my opinion, I guess. It's not much of a play-by-play. I'll leave that to Jack. He's the best at that. But for it to end in a, in a roll-up, with the holding the tights, I just think it could have. I was expecting more or less, a turn on Jericho, which. I don't know. It was just something about it. I just thought that, maybe my expectations were a little bit too high for the situation. But it'll be interesting to see the dynamic with MJF and Jericho and the rest of the Inner Circle. And I love how they're kind of planning the tension between Wardlow and Hager. That'll be fun to watch explode too.
Well, I think, like I said, it felt to me, I don't want to say predictable. Some of the finishes, or at least as far as who went over, with this show, some of the booking felt like, well, if this guy doesn't win, then the build was kind of wasted. So I kind of felt like MJF going over was the only way to do it after all of that. I mean, what else was the point? Build, and then he doesn't join the Inner Circle. So I felt like, not necessarily predictable, but I felt like it was the point of the story, so that isn't altogether surprising. I feel like some people sort of feel like now this might even be setting up a face turn for Jericho. There's a lot they can still do to play it out. It does seem like a lot of people felt the match was a bit long. That seemed like a recurring theme of the night. A lot of people saying, oh, this was good, but it's kind of long. I think they went over 16 minutes for that. It's always an interesting dynamic to see. We talked about even with the FTR versus the Bucks. You have like the heelish guys on both sides of the equation there. That's an interesting, albeit confusing dynamic. But I feel like they did what they had to do. They told the story they needed to tell. They opened the door for another story to come. A few different stories. You got the Wardlow thing. You got what's Jericho going to do next. I feel like some of the stuff they did during the build wasn't necessarily to my taste, like the musical numbers and this and that. Although the town hall I was kind of but then once Eazy-E showed up, like you put him in anything and I'm done. That's it. I was like, oh, that's my guy. So I liked that. I feel like it was a good way to kind of close off one storyline and then start the next one. So no real complaints about how that goes.
Okay, so kind of like what everybody else is saying, that this seemed to be the recurring theme of this pay-per-view, that also a lot of the matches are a little too long, even though the referee always says this match has like a 20-minute limit or a 60-minute limit, whatever. It's like, oh yeah, I guess they want to use every damn minute in those matches. Other than that, I think it was a good match, but a part of me felt like, I don't know, it almost felt like maybe Chris Jericho is backing down a little. Like, he is very talented, he is a very good wrestler, but it almost feels like, I don't know, maybe he's not that interested, being number one anymore. My impression.
Well, the main thing is that you have to remember that his age, I mean, I mean, yeah, when he first came in, of course he became the champion because it looks good for the average Joe Schmo that doesn't know nothing about, other wrestling that's not WWE. That, hey, Chris Jericho's a champion. Hey, I know that guy. And that kind of shit. But now, since he's kind of, he's up there in age and stuff, he doesn't really need to be the champion anymore. He's mostly there to make, like, Orange Cassidy look good. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
He's there to put over
talent.
But
I've still got to make it look believable that despite his age, you still have to, I don't know, sell the image that hey, Chris Jericho can still, do it.
Well, the thing about this, with MJF being groomed to be the number one heel in the industry, he can't. It's inconceivable for him to take a loss right now, especially to Jericho, who's kind of on the downside of things.
I'm not saying MJF to lose the match, but I'm just saying to make it look more believable that holy shit, MJF won the match, but that it was still a little bit more of a challenge.
I feel you.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't match. Because my problem is, I think Jericho, I already said, because I was the only one who thought Jericho should have won. But the reason I thought Jericho should have won is because now that he's dropped the title, Jericho looks he's become weak as shit. Like, he's lost every significant major match since he lost the title. And it's kind of irritating to me. Because this guy was literally built as unbeatable, unstoppable. Remember, this guy beat Kenny Omega. And that was the guy that everyone was saying, oh, he's going to be the first champion. He beat Hangman Page. He beat literally everyone that got pushed in his way. And I think the other thing that makes no sense is the fact that the fact that MJF won. What makes no sense about it is, okay, the Inner Circle is a faction that is, these four guys listen and follow Jericho's lead. Jericho's the leader. We all know that. Do you honestly think MJF is going to follow anyone? Do you honestly see him as that kind of character to basically go, yes, sir? No, that's not how he is. So his character is literally just there to self-sabotage.
See, here's what I think. You raise a lot of interesting points there, Jack. But I'm looking at this, and I'm trying to be like you in this and take a long-term look at this angle here. We'll see what happens over the next 6 months, but here's what I think, specifically based on what you just said, especially. Here's what I foresee happening. You're right. They brought Jericho in as, basically the unstoppable heel at the top. And he has this group of guys, the Inner Circle, who are his they're there solely for him, right? Now, over the last few months, he's shown weakness. He's lost a lot of big matches. Now he's let MJF in the back door into this group where nobody wanted him in. What I see happening now, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but if I were booking it, I would probably do it this way. Now MJF is in the group. There's going to be a power struggle because now he's coming in and he looks a little stronger now than Jericho has looked recently. He's on the up. Jericho's on the down. It's almost like Jericho's gotten complacent since having the Inner Circle behind him. He's lost some of that edge. So what I think is going to gradually happen is that the Inner Circle is going to start to defer more to MJF. And Jericho is little by little going to be the odd man out. And I think Jericho eventually is going to turn face. They're going to probably jump him out of the Inner Circle, put MJF in as the new official leader, and then I think as a babyface, you're going to see more of a back-to-basics Chris Jericho, where he's going to try to, kill this beast he helped create. And that's going to eventually get some of his shine back. That's what I think is going to happen. Maybe I'm wrong.
That would have been a good story.
I think over the next 6 months, it's going to be interesting to watch. I think that would make a lot of sense.
And that'll be main event right there. Jericho versus MJF over control of the Inner Circle.
But and imagine the visual of him standing there, the two of them 3-4 months from now, him and MJF in the middle of the ring, and Jericho is standing there with Hager and all of them behind him, and Jericho is facing off with MJF, and MJF does like The Rock or something. He just gives that little eyebrow, and then Hager decks Jericho from behind, and then all these guys are stomping the shit out of Jericho. And now MJF leaves with them, and now Jericho's the odd man out. And now you've got another angle where Jericho can go and get all of his shine back that he's lost over the last couple of months. If they don't do it that way, I don't know what they're doing.
See, that would be smart booking, but the truth of it is...
That's not good shit!
Exactly. The way really, think about it. I booked my picks based off of what I think would have been smart booking. And I lost almost every match because they don't want the smart booking. They want the easy booking. And the easy booking dictates basically half of what you said. It's literally going to be that MJF is going to take control of the Inner Circle. That's obvious. Jericho's going to try, and then Jericho's going to fail, and then MJF is going to be the dominant guy, and he's going to take over the company, and some bullshit like that. But the fucked up thing about that story is that it turns everyone in the Inner Circle, so Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, Pride and Powerful, all four of them are now Wardlow 1, Wardlow 2, Wardlow 3, Wardlow 4, and Wardlow 5. That's it. They have no characters anymore. They literally sunk 5 careers in the water by doing that. That's my problem. That's what I think is so stupid about it. Giving MJF control over the Inner Circle will make it literally that everyone involved with it has no career at the end of it. Besides Jericho, because he can survive. But Guevara, he's a henchman. Then Jake Hager will be another henchman. And then Proud and Powerful will be another henchman. So I'm like, so they're just henchmen. Just give them striped shirts and call them henchmen 1 through 5.
Or, we could see, and again, I'm giving them a lot of credit here. We'll see what happens, but they could very well do another Ravens Flock situation where, he is such an overbearing leader of the Inner Circle once he takes over from Jericho that these guys all turn face and shit can him. And maybe they won't all be superstars, but we still have something to do. I mean, you never know. The one intriguing thing about the ending here is that it leaves the door open for 3 or 4 potential possible angles they could run with. And, the goal of any story is that the door is never completely closed. You stop one angle, you start the next one the same night. That's how it works. So I think they did good in that. There's a couple ways they can take it now. Which one will they choose? We'll see what happens over the next 6 months. But the door is open for a lot of intriguing stuff.
This is how I think personally how it should have ended. It should have ended with, MJF getting a roll-up, and then Jericho reversing it into a package roll-up, and then Jericho wins. And then at the end of the match, MJF does the whole face, and then, Jericho runs off with the Inner Circle. They're like, yeah, we won. And then MJF blames Wardlow, slaps Wardlow, and then Wardlow just walks off, just gives him this look and intimidates him and walks off. And then it builds basically that Wardlow will split from MJF, and then MJF will become his own villain on his own, and then Wardlow will become a top babyface or top heel on his own, and then they'll eventually clash.
Well, they'd have to change his name, though. They'd have to change his name, though. I'm telling you right now, he's not getting over as Wardlow. That's not happening.
My name is Jerry Warson.
Well, I mean, these things do matter, on some level. As stupid as it sounds, but that is a factor, which they probably will once he slits off from MJF inevitably, because every bodyguard character does. But, they need to. It's too much like Wadsworth. It makes him sound like a butler. You got to do something with that. If he's going to split off, they got to give him a better gimmick name.
Oh, yeah, for Jericho and MJF, pretty much what all y'all said. It was pretty cool and everything. I knew MJF was going to win because, like many of you said, if he didn't, then where does the story go from here, But I'm just surprised we didn't get, a finger poke of doom, because everyone would have... Well, Cornette would have flat out died. He would have passed. He would not survive that.
Best ever. Loved it. Did we all go? And if so, what was the over-under?
Oh, I thought I already said. Everyone except me got a point.
And then there was the main event.
Okay, so the final match we got here is the main event, of course, was this Jon Moxley, the current AEW champion, versus Eddie Kingston. A lot of personal backstory. I guess they knew each other as kids and a whole bunch of stuff when they were in the indies or whatever. You guys tell me. You've probably seen them before. And it is an I Quit match where the only way to actually end this is having the other guy say I quit. And apparently weapons and blood and all that stuff came involved. And yeah, you guys can all say your stuff. I'll put my thoughts for the end.
The main event was very good. And, like, I've been high on Eddie Kingston for years. One of my favorite promos in wrestling. The build-up was great. I mean, the build-up delivered. That most recent promo on Dynamite, where Kingston's not allowed to touch him, but Kingston's facial expressions give you all the response that you need to that. I mean, just the. I mean, they had all for an I Quit match with minimal blood, but I mean, I love the bulldog choke with the barbed wire wrapped forearm. The match was a nice fun street fight, and I enjoyed it. We all knew that Kingston wasn't going to be AEW champion. We just knew he wasn't winning that match, but it was believable. It was a very believable threat to Moxley. I thought that this was good. But I think the big plan now was confirmed that they were looking for Kenny and Moxley again. So I think that's where we're headed here.
So honestly, my bad, but I pretty much forgot most of the match. But typical Mox fashion. I mean, match was still kind of bloody. I don't know if it was as bloody as it was other matches, but it was still bloody enough. And I'm not too surprised with the outcome because, Moxley did win this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wasn't surprised for that end result, and it's kind of like I would say it's a good match. It was long, but I just unfortunately I don't really remember too much what happened in the match.
Okay, well I'll go here then. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting match. I mean, they were beating the crap out of each other, usual wrestling stuff in here. For some reason, what's his name? Kingston's outfit reminded me like, I don't know. It reminded me of either someone you would see in Mike Tyson's Punch Out or that boxing boss guy from Streets of Rage 2. Just I don't know the build, the shorts.
That gear, man, that right there, like when he came out dressed like that, you're like, I'm sorry, this guy ain't winning.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody else pointed that out because I mean, that gear just was not him. Like I never seen him wear anything like that bright before like that. I mean, maybe in his early days when he had like the the Puerto Rican flag themed pants and everything, but no, I looked at that and I'm like, holy fucking god, and no, I agree 110%.
Yeah, it's like he was trying to imitate, I don't know, Little Mac and King Hippo at the same time. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm sorry, but that's what I thought. Just the colors, it's like it's like almost cartoonish green. But anyways,
and then he comes out to that awesome banger of a theme that he has because his theme is, I love his theme. It's on my playlist and everything. But like it didn't look like him being in that bright ass green. When he's got probably one of the darker, grittier personas. Yeah, like you said, I didn't see him winning as soon as he came out like that.
I've heard people speculate or say outright that he may have been paying tribute to Tracy Smothers in some way, but I feel like an armband would have sufficed.
Yeah.
I think it was mentioned in the match. Wasn't he paying homage to Misawa?
That could be too.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. But anyways, I was saying though is they did some of the stuff we've seen before in other matches. We've seen barbed wire before, and it was kind of cool too because I was even talking in the previous podcast that it's been a long time that we had any bloody stuff with Moxley. You would expect more matches because he's a champ down, whatever. But so this brought that back, So we've seen barbed wire. We've seen the bat covered in barbed wire. We saw the thumbtacks and everything, but some things I haven't seen too common was like them tearing small parts of barbed wire, actually wrapping around their fists, which of course would hurt them, and using that to sock the other guy, which would it would hurt both parties. But you gotta get that toughness. I don't care if this hurts me because I'm fucking badass, And the thing that really got me, oh my god, the rubbing alcohol, man. They had Moxley. Yeah. With the spot, his back's already covered with thumbtacks and shit, and they doused the entire thing of rubbing alcohol all over him. And I would assume it's real alcohol and not water because Moxley sure sold it.
Yeah, the cool thing about this match too, like, was the finish where, Kingston didn't actually quit. It was, or did he quit? Or
yeah, he had no choice but to say I quit. There was no choice.
Well, I thought Remsburg stopped the match. Because I didn't really hear an audible quit. So I was kind of hoping that there would be a play on that in the coming weeks here between Eddie and Remsburg, since they have that they have so much history on the indies together.
Yeah, because I think there was a story thing where in their previous match he did that, and that's why now they were emphasizing that he better not quit it no matter what,
Yeah.
But yeah, he did actually say it because you got that hold with the barbed wire near your throat and all that shit. I mean, what choice did you have?
No, I thought it was an okay match. I was surprised at. I know it sounds weird. I was surprised at how tame for an I Quit match it was, because usually I Quit matches are like gore fests and blood fests and like really messy work, but it was surprisingly like, even though they had a couple of ooh spots, there weren't any like overtly like gory spots. Like hell, you could turn on any basic Cody match and you'll get more blood. But
the Kenny and Mox match, my God.
Oh, that was like, yeah, but that was the thing. That went too far for the casual viewer that they literally said, we'll never do it like that again. So they kind of backed themselves in a corner when they do that.
Oh, yeah. Then, like, the city or whatever they were in made a big hissy fit about it.
Well, no. Tony Khan literally did that because everyone was, like, all over the internet going, oh, my God, I'm so scared. You scarred my children. And I'm like, yeah, not like when Eddie Guerrero accidentally bladed and severed an artery.
And suddenly the Nostalgia Critic entered the chat.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you sounded like, the Nostalgia Critic.
Greased up deaf guy.
Yeah, I'm like, no one is, come on, no one is, like, going like, oh, my poor child.
Oh, my God, I thought this was going to be the Hallmark match of the week.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Chuck's daughter, that's like, what, 7 or something, was watching the blood.
She watched the Kenny and Mox match.
And it was like nothing,
And she was cheering for blood.
Now, I do admit, though, I'm glad she wasn't around when Sammy got, the chair, because she's a big Sammy fan, so I don't know how she would have taken that. But,
kids are resilient. I'll tell you a quick anecdote. When, about 10 years ago, I was at my sister's place, and my niece and nephew were there, and they were little. My nephew was like 4. And he watched wrestling a little bit sometimes, but he was still learning about it. And me and everybody, the grown-ups, we were watching Rise and Fall of ECW. And I'm a big Raven mark, so we were watching... What's that?
A great documentary.
And we were watching some of the Raven stuff. And, like, the stuff he did with Sandman and Sandman's kid, and then crucifying him and all of that stuff. And, friend of the family was over there, and he was like, "Hey man, I don't know if the kid should be watching this." My nephew. We're like, "Well, the kid watches wrestling." He's like, "Oh, he watches like John Cena and stuff, but I don't know that Raven guy." And then he came. Long story short, I wrestled like 2 weeks later, and we always have vendors selling, merchandise and action figures and stuff like that. And my family came to the show, and my nephew, my 4-year-old nephew, was there. And whose action figure does he buy? Fucking Raven.
Yeah. What about me? What about Raven?
I was like, point being, these kids, we think that, oh my God, they're going to be so traumatized by this and that and the other thing, but that's us projecting, a little bit of blood in a wrestling match isn't going to shake a kid up that bad. They like that shit. I did. I liked that shit. First wrestling match I ever watched was Hulk Hogan versus Iron Sheik in a steel cage. And he rammed Sheik into the cage, and it was a bloody mess. This was like 1984. And Sheik was bleeding all over the place. He tapped the gusher. Hogan's choking him with the headband, and the blood's flowing down his face. Loved it. Loved it. Watched wrestling ever since. I wasn't even 3 years old.
My daughter's a bit of a crowd favorite at the Pittsburgh Ring of Honor shows. I've taken her to about 5 of them by now. And we always are in the front row. She's right on the rail, and she is the loudest fan there. She was out chanting the streamer guy. And and then it got to later on in the match, like after the Briscoes finished their match, they were looking for where that, and they came over to her, and they were just giving her props up and down, and so it was pretty cool. But she'll, if they're having a bit like a brawl, and she doesn't flinch, she'll sit there and jaw at the guys too. And mind you, she just turned 9 years old. So, there's no fucks given from this kid.
It's the way it should be. Kids are fine. People project. Grown-ups project onto little kids. But kids are a little bit tougher than we give them credit for.
Yeah, because when you think about it, all that stuff like Aliens, RoboCop, Terminator, Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky, all that stuff was loved by kids, to be honest. They probably would not have made as much money if kids weren't sneaking to theaters to watch them.
And beyond that too,
can't you put on a wholesome movie like Return to Oz or Secret of Nim or American Tail or
Ferngully, The Last Rainforest.
For me, it's like, when we as adults see a match like that, when we look at a match with a lot of blood and stuff, as adults, we're cynical. Our second nature is to second guess everything and be like, well, was that legit, or how did that's got to be, that's where he gigged. We're looking for the spot where he gigged, or we're talking about the color of the blood coming out of Sammy Guevara, things like that. And to us, it's all very cynical. But when a kid sees those kind of things, on the one hand, okay, maybe they're a little shook because they see blood, but on a grander scale, they're like, oh my God, they're captivated by it. They're not thinking it's fake. They're not thinking, how did the magician do the trick? They're just like, oh my God, that guy's bleeding. He's really hurt. This is serious. And that's what captivates them into being wrestling fans on some level.
Yeah.
So it's easy for adults and parents to want to be overprotective, especially now when they got their kids wrapped in fucking bubble wrap, which I can't stand because it's stupid. We're churning out, without getting too political, but we're churning out a generation of fucking pussies because we won't let them see those fucking horror movies or the bloody wrestling matches and things like that. Let kids be kids. They like that kind of shit, and they actually like it more than we do. They're not going to be traumatized.
This weekend I think I'm going to tell my kid, I'm going to sit my kid down in front of the TV and be like, let me tell you a few stories about New Jack.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I love that cocaine.
Yeah. New Jack versus Mass Transit. Yeah, she's going to love that match.
Let me show you this match of Stan Hansen and Vader in Germany.
That match was eye-poppingly good.
Foley versus Vader,
Oh, God. Okay, so what's the, I think we all mentioned our thing, right? I think we all did. What's the over-under on, huh?
It's just me. I was the only one that lost.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me just add another point to everyone here.
So which ones did Jack get right? I'm curious.
I got 2 right.
Not to be a dick, I'm just. It
Okay.
sounds like you're deep in the hole on this one.
It's fine. It's not my fault they suck at booking. Oh no.
Speaking
But
of
they
it's
will get
not
that
my.
wonderful shirt, though.
I forgot to mention. Speaking of it's not my fault, we had Snitsky with us at the show on Saturday.
Oh, there we go.
Great guy. Great guy.
Did he
Great
punt
guy.
anything
So-
in the crowd?
He was a lot of fun too.
I don't think he did punt anything in the crowd this time. We got to actually at the end of the show. We have this heel stable called the Program. They have the belt right now, and they're trying to be dominant. And they pulled a fast one on old Snitsky. At the end, they were all trying to do the beatdown. So there was a big bench clearing brawl at the end. So I got to come out and help save Gene. That was cool. So, which kind of brings things full circle because about 8 years ago, me and Jersey Kid were in a tag match, and we should have won. But that darn Snitsky, man, he came in and shit-canned the both of us, and the beatdown was on. And then who comes out to save my life? Kevin Nash. And now here I am saving Gene Snitsky 8 years later. These things all come full circle, man.
And who said long-term booking is dead?
So in the end, oh my God, when they were asking like Hurricane Helms, where was he, whatever. Hey, long-term storytelling.
Yeah, they mentioned that. Yeah, they were like, it's like, what can I say? He's like, I had to do it in AEW. What's up with that?
All right, so in the end, Rikki Roxx won with 8 points.
Nice! I won twice this weekend.
Yep. Well, there you go. I was second place with 7 points. And both Johnny and DJF were tied at 5 points each. It's a good job there, bro. And Mr. Knives with 2 points will be styling and profiling with that Vicious Vixen shirt.
Hey, it's fine with me. I don't
Now
mind.
that's up to you if you want to purchase it, or you can tell me what your shirt size is. I'll mail it to you, or we'll see. But
Yeah, I'll just have you mail it to me.
See, I told you, because the stakes were lower, he felt like it was able to take more risks. Because at the last show, there was no way he was taking these kind of risky booking chances and have to see the Sonny OnlyFans. So now
yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
Oh.
it's just a
Yeah.
T-shirt this time at stake. So he felt like he could go a little bit out there with his predictions, and there's less to risk, less risk. And so I'm curious though, what's my reward? Because I came out, I think I almost had a clean sweep.
I don't know. We always go so much into punishments. I don't think we don't even do rewards, do we?
I don't think we do.
I think the reward is just that you don't have to do the punishment or whatever.
Well, when your foresight is as on point as mine, I think I deserve a little bit of something. Maybe I get the pass key to the Tessa Blanchard OnlyFans.
Whoa.
There we
I
go.
better share that account.
Does she have one? Because I'm curious now if she has one. God dang it. I mean, yeah, of course she doesn't.
Conti's got quite the Patreon.
Yeah, Conti has a
I
Patreon.
said, on a side note, I said to someone, you know what, you can keep your Sasha Banks, I'll stick with ODB.
Oh, there you go. Yo, love ODB.
Same. I actually do. I haven't tried her barbecue sauce yet. I've still been wanting to try it.
Me neither. Good call on that one.
Because she has her food truck got apparently hijacked. Her food truck got burned, like a gas leak or something, and it bursted into flames. But then Mick Foley of all people funded her getting a new food truck, and then I'm like, oh, that's really cool. He funded it with a GoFundMe, and everyone overwhelmingly paid it. And then so she started selling her barbecue sauce at pro wrestling tees. I'm like, I should probably buy it.
See, there you go. That's how you get over, as a female wrestler to the point where fans really, really love you. Get big old implants, grab them constantly, grab your crotch, drink during your matches. People will never have a bad thing to say about you.
And open the
'Cause you're
food
one of
truck.
them. Well, yeah, that's That's how you really get over if you want to get over with the marks, especially in Jersey. Open a food truck. Not like that fried chicken on a stick.
I would legitimately, if wrestlers made their own like food trucks, dude, they would get so over. Legitimate. No,
can you just picture that?
If it was an indie wrestler, or if it was like a wrestler and they just had their own food at the venue, dude, it's like double pay right there.
Sell it at the gimmick table, you know?
That's way more than double pay, man. That'd be like, dude, you sell 3 chicken sticks, you're already getting more than you're getting for your match.
Like, come on down and have a Rikki Roxx Thunderburger!
Like, you don't even need to be booked. You're just out there, like, you know, just making your money on the night just by selling burgers, you know?
Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara food truck match.
Oh, God, no.
Oh,
you ever had some elbow drop nachos? Yeah! Like,
He got mustard in his eyes! He got mustard in his eyes!
Oh, God. So
No,
what?
one
The
thing I
Jim
will-
Cornette and
I
food
wish
truck.
indie wrestling-
Oh, no.
One thing I wish they would do more that they do in indie shows and hardcore matches that to me makes it more cringy is instead of using thumbtacks when they use the Lego bricks. Oh,
We did that
God.
at the last show.
Now you're going
We
too
didn't-
far.
I don't think we did the Legos at this show, but somebody at the last show. Oh, at both. Yeah. Rob Fury, he does the Lego gimmick a lot.
Yeah, I love that because I'm like, 'cause everyone knows that pain. And everyone goes, ooh.
Yeah, I was not aware that that's apparently a really big thing in our company.
No, you don't want to be in a Lego brick match? Come on.
Hey, I haven't worked hardcore yet, and this doesn't seem like the best time to start. Not if they're using Legos, brother. I did a tag once where my partner got put through a table. Somehow I avoided that misfortune. I've been lucky.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I politicked my way out of it. It just didn't get booked that way.
So I think we pretty much covered all the ground this time. We got the matches covered. We got the big things here, you know, in terms of lovely new shirts for our buddy. And yeah, we covered the AEW games. We covered what happened with Kylie Ray, and we also covered I forgot what was the other topic. No, I forgot what did we? Oh yeah, with Rikki Roxx's performance with Tommy Dreamer and Atlas and Sandman and all them and everything, and Doink.
We had everybody, Gene Snitsky, a great show.
Now, what was that thing about getting chopped in the windpipe and all that?
Yeah, it's part of the 8-man tag, man. You know, things go crazy. I got a little banged up in that match. It was, first I got a wishbone spot at one point, which was, they just yanked way too hard, and I felt like I tore my hamstring, but thank God I did not. It's a lot better today. It's only been about 3 days, but I feel a lot better already. But, oh, God, I was limping all weekend from that. And then the guy put me in the corner, and he's giving me the chops in the corner. First one lands okay. I don't know what he did on the second one, but his fingertips grazed my chin, and his pinky or whatever. He got me right across the windpipe, like yeah, and I was pissed. So I wasn't even gonna sell that shit. I just grabbed him and threw him in the corner, and I started lighting him up with the Macho Man jabs. And the first 2 or 3 were really snug. Like I got him right in the jaw. And, that's it. That's what, it doesn't need to go beyond that. And we got to the back afterwards, and he's like, you all right, man? I was like, dude, you got to watch those chops. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what happened there. He's like, you got me, though. You got me.
So, what was I going to say? Who are these guys? Because for all we know, these could be like future Hall of Famers that we're talking about. They're green right now.
I think that was maybe an issue, although this gentleman... which I don't actually even have the name in front of me, but he's been in CZW. He's worked with Ellsworth. He's been around the block. I get guys' real names more than I get the shoot names sometimes, so it's all going to be up on the internet. Plus, also, I was expecting for there to be a specific lineup for that match, and a lot of the guys got switched out. We were supposed to have Frankie Flo. He hurt his shoulder. There was a couple of people who were not available due to injury, so... off the top of my head, I'm not remembering the name of the gentleman who chopped me in the throat, but it was an accident. These things happen. It wasn't personal. You give the receipt, and then you just let it go. We were all backstage, and You know, he's like, you know, he said to me, he's like, I hope we do a singles soon. I says, I hope so too, because that'll be a lot of fun. And, you know, these things are going to happen. You just remind each other to play it a little safer, and you just let it go, because you don't mean to do it. It happens. I've busted lips. I've had people bust my lip, and when it's, you know, getting chopped in the throat, that's, you got to really watch. But I was lucky. It was mostly just the fingertips, but oof, God, it was a little annoying.
So it was like aiming too high or something, huh?
Well, like I said, a couple months ago, or about a year ago at the Monster Factory, I saw an even worse one where it was two girls, and the one of them, she didn't raise the chin when she had the girl in the corner. She hit her with a good chop, and then she went right into the second chop without taking a moment to let the crowd sell it and react to it. And after you throw the chop, usually when you take the chop, you bow down because you're selling the first chop, and plus you got the wind knocked out of you, so your head kind of goes forward involuntarily. So you're supposed to raise the chin and then throw the chop. But this girl didn't raise the chin. She just threw the second chop right after the first one and basically just backhanded this girl right across the face and broke her nose. And I was glad that I didn't get one of them, because that was not only not fun to watch, but I'm sure it was even less fun to be on the receiving end of. In their credit, they made it an angle. They worked that for the next 4 months, but, you know, you don't want to see shit like that happen. It's, you know, you're not supposed to get hurt. That's the point. Matt Hardy, you're not supposed to get hurt. Darby Allin, you're not supposed to get hurt. I mean, you know, he's definitely doing great with what he does, but I worry about his longevity. I mean, people always said, oh, Rey Mysterio, and he's had a long career, but I remember back in 97, people were like, Rey Mysterio's going to have to watch himself or he's not going to be around very long. And to his credit, he's been around long, but I would say that, like, he had, like, 3 years at his peak, and then 20 years of just kind of, like, slow-motion Rey Mysterio. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He's still in the mix,
Yeah,
but he's not what he was.
If you watch Rey Mysterio, there's a great, fantastic, amazing match I recommend anyone look up. Rey Mysterio versus Jushin Thunder Liger. Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero in WCW. Those matches, like, holy crap.
Now, I
Back in the
know,
day.
shortly before I got sick of WWE, I know he made a comeback in there. Is he still there now, though, or his tenure already ended there?
Yeah, he's still there. They're doing a stupid gimmick with his family and his stupid kids being all like, everyone's all on a shit fit because they're like, oh my God, his daughter's dating Murphy, and it's like, she's 18. Yeah, but
She's
he's
19.
32. Or she's 19.
But is that like kayfabe, real life? What? I don't get that part.
It's a story where, like, it's a story they've been literally building for like 8 months now, and it's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But basically,
I mean, considering the fact that Vince McMahon wanted to, like, have a story where he impregnated his own daughter, like, you know.
Here's what I think is the funniest about the Mysterio family situation. They work the angle with Ray losing an eye or putting his eye out, right, to get sympathy heat and to help get his kid involved. His son comes
but this is the thing that disgusts people.
Well, no, what I'm saying is this is about what gets over. They put this angle out there with Ray losing the eye to get sympathy so his son can backdoor into the angle, and then they start pushing his son, and they try to make his son out to be a big deal. And they have him work matches with these guys, and these guys put him over. And then all Ray's daughter does is show up once on Raw wearing a tight single-strap tank top, and now she's more over than everybody in the fucking angle. And now she's under contract.
And that wraps up this episode of Diving Cutter Podcast. We kind of covered a lot of ground in this episode. It's pretty cool. It's kind of hard to really promise a set schedule for this. It's usually our predictions for AEW pay-per-views. As you know, they are kind of spaced out. And, you know, if we get lucky enough to get another wrestler to interview, we'll, of course, make an exception, make a special episode there. But we are going to make an episode probably this weekend or so based on our favorite wrestling video games. We had so much fun talking about games a little earlier today. So we're going to go deeper into it with our favorite games, not just the new stuff, but also the Nintendo and Super Nintendo stuff, brother. So on behalf of everyone, this is Mark Rodriguez signing off.
Rikki Roxx signing off from the Diving Cutter Podcast. Thanks again so much for having me. Always a blast, always a pleasure. And we will see you hopefully in the very near future.
This is Shotty Rodriguez, and it's cool.
This is Chuck signing off. That's Bedonia.
And it's me, Jack Knives, once again signing out.
All right, take care, everyone. Be careful, be safe out there, and yeah, doors are opening. We're getting more and more indie shows. Looks like we're finally getting to the tail end of this thing.
We shall see. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and hopefully.